Hello and welcome back to Cast On, a knitting podcast where I talk about my finished objects, my whips, my yarn acquisitions and some more knitting things. My name is Ellie, I am from Austria and this is episode number 40. Hello, I am so excited for you to join me once again. Episode 40, wow, I am really happy with this. Soon is going to be my podiversary as well. I started my podcast in March 2 years ago, so that's 2022. Wow, that was difficult to think. I think I'm still stuck in 2020 in my head. I don't know if I'm the only one, but to me the last 4 years just somehow didn't happen. Anyways, I am so glad you are here with me once again. A few things before we get started. I would like to do another knit and chat video. You can ask me questions, so you can leave questions down below that you would like me to answer, or you can send me a message on Instagram. I'm gonna announce it there as well, and I'll probably put up a YouTube community post there as well, so you can ask me anything at all, anything that you're interested in. I think that might be a fun life update. I kind of do these things every 6 months thereabouts, so I'll be really happy if you could send in some questions that you have for me and I can go through them. Right, this time it will be a shorter episode. I always say that and then I ramble on for about 40 minutes, but I really don't have a lot of knitting to show you because my knitting mojo is gone. I don't know where it went to. I don't know if it's on holidays or if I just don't feel like knitting because of the dark gloomy weather. I have absolutely no idea, but I just don't feel like knitting and it makes me so sad because I feel like doing nothing. I don't feel like reading, I don't feel like knitting, I just feel like existing. And there are better ways to spend your life than just through existing, because life is too short to not do all of those fun things. So the knitting is kind of minimal. I'm gonna try and get it back with, I don't know, smaller projects or something. I don't know, but just so that you are aware, I don't have that much knitting to show you this time. I have one finished object and it is finished, but it belongs to a set. It is my penny glove. I only have one. That's why I say it's like semi-finished, because this one is finished but it obviously belongs to a pair. This is the penny gloves by Petite knit. Let's put them on. There we go. They are fairly long. I would have preferred them a little bit shorter. I mean, those are supposed to be a gift, but the weather has turned now once again. It's not cold anymore, it's fairly warm. It was super windy over the last few days, like windy to the point where you couldn't walk in a straight line, that kind of windy. But it wasn't particularly cold, so I don't know how useful these will actually be. I'm thinking about just finishing the set and then keeping it as a Christmas gift just on the side, so I don't have to stress about it for this year's Christmas. I've not decided yet. Anyways, this is what they look like. Like I said, fairly long. Here's my elbow, here's my wrist, and they are really nice. I can definitely see why this pattern is so popular. It was really fast to knit up as well. I used Ferner Wolle, or was it Merino 160, this is the label, in the color 404. It is a dark grey, and then I held it with a strand of drops Silk Mohair because I still have that mohair left over. And like I said, it knit up fairly fast. The reason why I've not got the second one, I'm this far, I might be able to start increasing for the thumb, I don't know, I have to count rows, is because I want these to be my like travel projects, because they are so small and don't take up a lot of space. So when I'm going to work, I would prefer to knit on these, but because, like I said, my knitting mojo isn't there at the moment, even when I take it with me, and I always take this with me to work, I don't knit on it on the way. So I just have to, I don't know, finish them off at home or something. I don't know, I've not decided yet. But this is the first one, this is the second one. Like I said, I am almost done with the cuff. And here is the yarn without the mohair. It is a dark charcoal. And the drops Silk Mohair, I have no idea what number that is. It's probably also called charcoal or something. I don't know. I had this for such a long time that I lost the labels. But I'm happy that I can use it for something different, because this mohair is too scratchy for me in a jumper. So that's why I wanted to try it in an accessory and for gift knits, and I think it worked out really well. The fabric is nice and soft, and I think that the merino definitely helps with the itchiness that I normally get from this mohair. So I'm very pleased that even I can have these gloves on my wrists and not be too sensitive. So I will definitely make a pair for myself, maybe even in the same yarn, because I do have a lot of both of these yarns, but maybe also in a different color, I don't know. So that is my first finished object and whip at the same time. And let's get into the bigger whips. First up, and the one where I have made more progress on than the other one. Let me just grab a sip of tea. So this is the Dornie sweater by Rebecca Clow. I'm making size 3 and it is really nice. It is incredibly soft. It looks really, really good. Since last time, I don't even know where I was last time, I knit a little bit further on the body, not too much, because I finished one sleeve. I just finished the job yesterday and it is, I hope it's going to be a good length. I think with cable designs it's always a little bit difficult to gauge if it's going to be the right length or not, because cables stretch out when you block them, but they don't stretch out lengthwise, they stretch out width-wise. And because you have all of these gorgeous like pearls in between, it will stretch out width-wise, which shrinks it lengthwise. So I just knit the sleeve to a length that I think is good to my liking so far. I do hope that I can stretch it a little bit lengthwise and not have the sleeve super wide. And you do have these ribbing sections on the side of the jumper and underneath the sleeve. So here is, oh god, here is the underneath. Where is it? Here. And then you have the sleeve, which is like the same rib pattern. For the decreases on the sleeves, I don't love them. I mean, I know they are on the underside of the sleeve, so if I don't lift up my arm, no one's really gonna notice. But I feel like there could have been a better way to make them look neater, because they all just look, I don't know, a little bit as if they are incomplete. So I started out with mostly a knit and 2 pearls following that, to go on the underside. So obviously when you come to the decrease, like here, you have this knit row that just disappears, and then you have a lot of like this big section of pearls. I don't know, I feel like there could have been a better way. I didn't feel like doing that because I wanted to follow the pattern, but looking back, I think we could have done a little bit better here. Anyways, in general, I think the pattern is well written, apart from the mistake that I mentioned in the first episode where I talked about this project, which is 2 episodes before this one. There is a mistake in the join at the front, where you join where you cast on the new stitches and you join the yoke. That's what it's called, the yoke. But we managed that, and I'm really enjoying working on it. The yarn I'm using is so gorgeous. I really want to get more of this because it just feels so incredible to knit with. It's Wool Marble, which is a 80% merino blend with 20% silk. This is the colour Sandalwood, a really nice caramelly colour, and I'm holding it with Filcolana Tilia in the colour 363, which is called Caramel. And together they make up this absolutely gorgeous sweater. You have a lot of fluff, you have a lot of squish, and it knits up fairly fast because you work on 4.5mm needles. Now, I normally don't like working on bigger needles. 4mm is like my happy place, but these are really nice as well, especially for the cables. They don't feel too fiddly, and together it is absolutely gorgeous. There is no itch factor. For the collar, I left out the mohair because I am sensitive around my neck to mohair, but everywhere else I obviously have it in the garment, and I can't wait to finish this. Now that I know the sleeve doesn't take that long and I have the first one finished, I'm gonna start working on the second one because I know I don't have enough yarn for the whole garment to have it complete as the pattern suggests. I have a little bit less, about, I don't know, 70 meters or 90 meters, something like that. But I reckoned if I have the sleeves the right length that I want, I can make the body a little bit shorter, and I will use up every last bit of this yarn because I don't want to waste it. I don't want to have any scraps, or as little as I possibly can. That is my Dornie, and then the second sweater that I'm working on at the moment is my Colette Pullover by Sari Nordlund. I have not really worked on this at all because I've been so focused on the sleeve of the Dornie sweater that I don't have a lot of progress to show you. I am making size 1, and this is what it looks like. I still don't have a collar. I wanted to make the collar, and then I needed the needles for the sleeves, so it will get done, trust me, it will get done. So since last time I only knit about this much. This is the last chart that I have, the last repeat of this cable motif, and then I can bind off, or like make the ribbing and then bind off, so I'll be finished with the body. I'm really happy with how it's looking. It is going to be interesting about the collar, how wide it's going to be. I only have the t-shirt pattern, and I'm going off of that and not the actual pullover pattern, just because I already have that in my library, and I checked the specs for the pullover and they're actually not that different from each other. They even have like the same amount of rows. It's just that one is using wool and long sleeves, and the other is a t-shirt version, so short sleeves and probably some kind of like cotton or cotton wool blend fibre. I am using a Bûches Le Petite lambswool in the colour grey beige, and the mohair in the same colour way as well. And I have to say, it feels really good. It's nice to knit with these two held together, but I don't know if it's because it's fingering weight or because the mohair is digging into my finger. I can't knit on this project for super long because, like I just said, it digs into my nail bed, and that is starting to hurt after a while. So I don't have this problem with the Dornie. I've had this problem before with another sweater. I can't quite remember which one it was. Oh, it was my festive yoke pullover where I had the same problem. I think that the really fine fingering weight wool yarns really hurt my nail bed and are a bit too rough for my finger. But I'm gonna keep going because I really am enjoying this project, even though I haven't knit on it very much. This grey is just the perfect grey for me. I'm normally not a grey person because I think I need colour in my life, and grey to me is, it is very classy, don't get me wrong. It's like black, it's very classy and clean looking, but at the same time it just lacks colour and it is a bit dead to me. So I like the lighter grey ones, which kind of remind me of, or like are in the colour specs more so towards white than towards the darker spectrum. So I can't wait to wear this because I think this will be really nice with my work clothes, where you do need to look presentable. I have cast on one more new thing because I didn't want to work on the project that I had on my needles at the moment. So I thought, what better way than to get out of knitting mojo if not to cast on something completely new, which is also a jumper, which means a lot of commitment. It is still in the very early stages. I literally cast this on, I think 1 or 2 days ago, and then I put it down and not worked on it anymore. This is a 1x1 ribbed collar for the Pippin sweater. The Pippin sweater by the Knit Purl Girl is an absolute gorgeous pattern, which has an overall textured stitch pattern, and it looks really good. I've wanted to knit this pattern up for a while, but just never got around to it. I always gravitate more so towards textured knits than just the plainer looking ones, I would say. And I already had the yarn, and I bought the yarn back then specifically for this pattern when it came out. So this is Drops Daisy in the colour 2. It could be called Marzipan, I'm not entirely sure. This is 100% extra fine merino wool, non-superwash, and it feels absolutely incredible. This yarn is so soft. It is a DK weight, and you get 110 meters and 50 grams. Knitting this up felt really nice. I know 100% wool yarns, non-superwash, can sometimes feel a bit rough, and if you would give me this, I would not have said that this is non-superwash, but apparently it is, which makes me really happy because I like to work with non-superwash, like the rougher kinds of wool, because they insulate the sweater and me a little bit more. Anyways, back to the pattern. I'm making size 2 because you do have a little bit of positive ease. It is going to be a double folded collar. I prefer this method a lot more. I prefer to knit the collar first and then do the yoke, instead of starting with the yoke, joining it in the round and then attaching the collar, because it just feels more complete to me. And with such a small beginning, I can just put it in my bag and take it with me when I'm going somewhere, because it doesn't take up a lot of space. The stitch pattern is it the seed stitch or the sand stitch, something along those lines. I can't quite remember anymore, but it is a very simple stitch pattern, just with knits and purls as far as I know, and I'm really excited to start this because it is not very difficult. I wanted something on my needles that I can just grab when I don't feel like working on the super involved knits like the ones that I have on my needles at the moment, and that's exactly why I cast this on. The yarn obviously just makes it a little bit better, because I always feel like when you have good yarn to work with, or yarn that you are excited about, the project goes a lot smoother and you are a lot happier working on it than if you work with something where it doesn't feel quite right and you don't, I don't know, like the colour or something. So a new cast on, I don't know when I'm going to work on this. Ideally I would like to finish my Dornie sweater first, because then I have that off my needles and kind of can justify starting a new project a little bit more when I'm in a slump. Anyways, I have bought some yarn. This is the first yarn purchase of the year. I've been really good in January, where I've not bought any yarn. I think I've not bought any yarn. I got some gifted just before Christmas. I don't think I've bought any yarn, at least as far as I remember. And I have projects in mind. We'll just have to see. So the first one, they're both Filcolana yarns. The first one is Filcolana Pernilla, which is 100% Peruvian Highland wool, 175 meters in 50 grams, in this gorgeous, sorry, my cough is starting to flare up again, I don't know why. Filcolana Pernilla in this gorgeous lilac colour. This is colour 369. It is a DK weight, and I've never worked with this yarn before. I really like Filcolana in general. I have the thicker one, I can't quite remember what it's called. I have the is it Aran weight yarn, which I do also have a project in mind for. I just need to cast it on. I also need to check if the yarn is correct for the gauge that you need. Anyways, that's a completely different project. I digress. This gorgeous beauty will either be a long-sleeved toaster. I got inspired by Rebecca herself. She's making this gorgeous long-sleeved toaster in a very similar colour. It's just a bit more lilac and more vibrant than my yarn. So it's probably going to be this, because I just wanted something really simple and yeah, just really simple for work. Just a sweater that I can throw on over, preferably cropped, so it works a little bit better with the trousers that I have. So I want something really simple in this colour, and my favourite colour is lilac or the very vibrant purples. So I think this is going to be a really nice project to work on. And the other yarn that I bought is also a yarn that I've never worked with before, but I wanted to try it because I felt it from another person in my knit night group. That's already a few months ago, but I know that she used Filcolana Alva, and it was absolutely gorgeous. Filcolana Alva is a fingering weight yarn, 100% alpaca. So you get 175 meters in 25 grams, and this is the color 245, 245. I believe it was called like wine. I could be wrong on that, but something along those lines. It does get washed out a little bit. It's not as red as the camera picks it up. It's like a really dark purple almost. And I bought this yarn because Filcolana Tilia is my favorite in mohair, but the price for that yarn went up in the yarn shop that I bought it from normally. So it's now also 10 euros, which is the same price for Knitting for Olive mohair, which I've wanted to try for a really long time. It used to be cheaper, but now that it's the same price as Knitting for Olive, I think that is quite a lot for mohair. And this was only like €3.50 or 4 euros. So there's a big difference between 10 euros and 4. So that's why I wanted to try out this yarn. I don't normally work with a lot of alpaca. I do have alpaca in my stash, but I've never worked with it before because it's just so drapey. Obviously it's not as fluffy as the mohair itself, but I just wanted to try it because I'm gonna hold this with Isaiah yarn, and I have the project in mind. I will just grab the yarn really quickly. This is the yarn I'm gonna hold it with. This is Isaiah Highland wool, a fingering weight yarn, 100% wool in the color wine. And these two match really, really well. I bought the yarn online, the Alva. I bought it online and I just kind of went off my gut feeling of what could work, and these two, I mean, like I said, the color does get a little bit blown out, but there's almost an exact match, which makes me really, really happy. And what I want to make with these two is the Aurelia Pullover by Sari Nordlund. Now I know what you're gonna say, it is another cable knit, so that's why I don't know when I'm gonna cast this on. There's a little bit of a hype behind this pattern at the moment, and I am so here for it. I had this pattern in my library for a really long time now as well, and every year I thought to myself, this is going to be the project that I'm gonna cast on, and then it just never happened. So I finally have the mohair substitute that I needed to cast this project on, because you do need a DK weight for the pullover, and I've just been waiting for a second yarn to hold with my Isaiah. So I'm really happy with both of these yarn purchases. I have patterns in mind which I want to do more of. I don't just want to buy yarn just for the heck of it. I want to have a pattern in mind because that makes me even more excited about the project, or working with it in general, I guess. So this is everything that I have for you today knitting wise. I'm just gonna give you a little bit of a life update if you're interested. If not, then I hope I'm gonna see you next time. Not a lot has happened, I have to say, but I have started working out. I have also started running again, which is great. I feel like I am the happiest I have been in a really long time. I used to have a lot of back pain just from sitting around, not really doing a lot apart from knitting, or just having to sit in general and not really moving. But a month ago I thought, this is the month I'm gonna start working out again, and I feel a lot stronger, I feel a lot happier. And since last week I started to pick up running again. I used to be a really passionate runner when I was I don't know, in my teenage years. That's not too long ago, but it kind of feels like it. I used to run a lot. I used to enjoy running a lot as well, but then just life happened and I stopped, and I do really regret that I stopped, because getting back into running and exercising as well is just so difficult. So I encourage everyone to just start out easy. Maybe start with working out maybe once or twice a week until you get into a good flow, and then you can always up the sessions. But I'm just really happy to be exercising again, getting stronger, getting some muscles, and I just wanted to share that with you. I don't know if anyone can relate, but I do want to stick with it. And yeah, also next week is Valentine's Day. I hope you all have some really lovely things planned. Because I am single, I don't have a date or anything, but I do want to take myself on a date. I think we should all just celebrate loving ourselves, not just our partners, and just go out and do something fun, or do something that you've maybe been afraid of, or you've been wanting to do for a while and just never found the time. I'm definitely going to do that. I don't know what, but I think I'm gonna go out for a meal, maybe go to a museum, just treat myself in general. Not necessarily like in the sense of buying stuff, but just practicing self-love and enjoying the day with myself. That is now really everything that I have to say in this episode. I don't think there's anything else to report at the moment. No really big events coming up as of right now. Like I said at the beginning, if you have any questions that you would like me to answer, leave them down below, or on Instagram or wherever I'm gonna post those posts. I'm sure you will be able to find it. I hope your knitting mojo is back and you are also not in as much of a slump as I am. If you are, then we got this. We can get back into the flow. Maybe it just needs a little bit of time away from the craft to then come back with fresh eyes. We'll see. I hope you're doing well. I know a lot of people are sick. I hope you are not sick. The flu is going around currently here in Austria. I feel like everyone is sick once again. And yeah, I'm gonna see you next time. Take care of yourself, stay healthy, and happy knitting. Bye!